What up, witches, and welcome to Witchin and Bitchin, a podcast. I'm your host, Darren.
And I'm Vicky. How are you all today? I hope you're doing really, really well.
That was very cheery of you.
It was,
And I'm
wasn't it?
Vicky!
Well, I'm embracing it now.
Are you channeling your inner tin whistle, are you?
I am. That's what I was going to say that because I'm like, I think that's what we're doing.
Oh, God. For full transparency, for those that don't know, I've decided to randomly purchase an Irish tin whistle, and I'm starting to learn, as you do, like just randomly.
Yeah, that's right. As you do. Oh, yeah, I want to do that. Why not?
Yeah, like I literally just thought I'm going to go buy an Irish tin whistle and I'm going to learn how to play it. And here I am learning the Irish tin whistle. So anyway, aside from that, it was this whole thing of like, okay, I've been spending so much time coaching a lot of clients, and I've been coaching them around identifying an area of their life that is feeling like it's lacking nourishment. And doing all of this, like I've done it with so many different clients, one after another. So I'm like, oh fuck, and it gets to a point where you start to analyze yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say it starts to like be this mirror of reflecting.
Yeah. And so and especially when I'm like telling people, oh, even if you've never done it before, like there's no harm in trying. It's not about being perfect. Like you just keep practicing. And then the mastery comes from the mistakes, not from the nailing it.
That's very true. We don't learn if we get it all perfect.
No. And this is a segue, by the way. So there's a point to this. And then so I thought, well, I have to practice what I preach. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick something really fucking random. And I'm going to just do it and go on YouTube and find all the things to teach me how to play it. And hence the Irish tin whistle. And then from there, basically that's what I've been doing. And then I sent videos of me from day one and how squeaky and whatever it sounded. And then I sent videos of me on day 2. And all my friends like, oh my God, 2 days.
I know.
It's called practice, bitches.
See, I would have thrown it away by now.
No. That's when the magic happens. When you finally get that sense of accomplishment because you hit that note that's fucking hard to hit, or that trill, or that doing that run. Like, I'm sorry,
you're doing good.
All the people who write Irish tin whistle music, y'all have some explaining to do. All the fucking notes.
I was going to say, I have a whole new appreciation for it now. I mean, I haven't even been practicing, but I'm watching you do things, and I'm like, wow, that is not at all. Yeah, because like you hear it.
It sounds pretty when it's done well.
And it doesn't really...
But to make it sound pretty is fucking hard.
That's it. And you don't necessarily think it's like a super hard thing to do, but it really is.
Do you know, I've played at least, hang on, I think 8 or 9 instruments in my life. Various instruments.
I've never played anything.
No, I like instruments. So I'm a muso.
I play guitar.
I was raised from a music family. So I've played about 8 or 9 instruments in my life, and this is probably one of the harder ones that I've picked because I don't want to get technical, but basically just to hit higher notes, you just have to blow more air. And it's like, there's only so much air that these lungs have.
I was going to say, there you need to practice your yogic breath so then you can start to expand lung capacity.
I didn't think of that. Practice breathing exercises beforehand.
Breathing exercises. So then you can hold more, you can, control it a little bit more.
So I'm segueing this because...
I was going to say, this is a really big segue. And a tangent.
It went in a bit of a tangent, but the reason why I'm segueing, because we're talking about practicing things until they get better. Now, we actually had this question come up from some of our listeners a long time ago. And it's been one that I don't know why we haven't done it earlier.
I don't know either. It's just one of those things that just kind of never eventuated. I don't know. We've had other things come up and through and...
Yeah. So basically...
Because it's such a cool topic too.
Yeah, exactly. But it is one that requires a lot of practice.
It does.
When you know what the topic is, you're going to be like, oh, really? That topic? Really? Okay. So it's something that they say that everyone has one of these abilities.
Yes.
One that comes naturally.
I was going to say often it's like 1 or 2 that are
more dominant, and then the others can be developed over time. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about the clairs.
Yeah, the clairs. I knew a clair once, and I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, and it's not a chocolate eclair.
No,
it's a clair.
Yeah, clair.
The clairs.
So basically the topic is clairessence, which is otherwise known as the clair senses or the clear senses. So we're talking about extrasensory perception, meaning perception that is outside of the senses, as in the 5 physical senses.
Yeah. So
which
sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's anything that's outside of the perceivable third dimension. I can see it, smell it, taste it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So do we want to just jump straight into it?
Why not? Yeah, because it's just the way that how each person perceives energy or messages or spirit. It's like our senses, but like you said, the extra ones. It's just how we perceive things. And everybody's so different too.
Oh, yeah. And the way we perceive them as well is different. And also the strength. And okay, let's break them down because this is going to make more sense if we dive into each one.
Actually do what they are.
So we'll start off with clairvoyance, which the French word for clear seeing or clear sight, because voyant means to see and clair means clear. So clairvoyance is clear seeing.
See, I love how you say it. See, I say clairvoyance. It just sounds really...
No, but I'm just putting a Frenchy twang on it.
I know, but it sounds so much nicer, doesn't it?
I can't do that on all the words because I'm not that good at French.
It's okay.
But yeah, so clairvoyance. So how do you have, like, what's your clairvoyance like?
So this is probably one of my, I guess, secondary, maybe. Mm-hmm. It's one of up near the top. My top one we haven't got to yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this one is one of up there. So I see it more. See, there you go. If you say a lot of I sees and things like that, that's often a hint as to whether you are, because I'm also a very visual person. So I will see flashes of, it could be memories, something that's happened in my past that then will relate to something, or it's trying to tell me how I felt in that moment or something like that. I'll often see a picture or an image of something in my mind.
So we're talking about internal clairvoyance, like you see it within the screen of your mind.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I have a few times, I do see things in the physical, but that's not as much at all. I'm more in the mind space.
So more internal clairvoyance as opposed to external clairvoyance. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's how I see it. I know a lot of times this one's associated with dreams and dream work and things like that as well, but I don't associate with that as much for me.
So for me, I would say, I have a top three. This is I think my second and third are probably like equal. I'd say that my clairvoyance and my clairaudience tend to be like the same similar level. So I can't really differentiate which one's more prevalent than the other. It depends on my state. So for example, I'm a visionary. Like I can close my eyes and picture things I can actively project images, like a projection of what I want to see. When it comes to reading tarot or when it comes to like that type of channeling, I'll see. If I'm doing meditation, I see more so than the other senses. But then to see a manifestation in the external world, I have to have meditated like for a fucking long time. Like, because then when I open my eyes and my senses, then I will see spirits. Like I used to see them all the time as a kid.
Did you?
But all the time.
Mine's are often sort of in the periphery.
Oh, you see them kind of here, and then you look and there's nothing there?
Yeah, I'll often see that. And then if it's really only I can count on one hand, like a few times where I've actually physically seen like a person or something.
I know, as a kid, I saw them all the time. And even if I'm not stressed or anxious, like if I tend to be quite calm and centered, is when I tend to but see them more. But I usually get a feeling before the seeing.
Yes.
Like, because I feel to look there and then I see. I wouldn't just like look around the room and just randomly look in a direction and there's something there. Like, you know what I mean?
Something's over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about how, like, what's a way that people could kind of work on this one?
Yeah. So this one you could do. So again, because it's a visual thing, and again, that can also be like, if you're a visual learner and stuff, it can also be a little bit of a hint as to where you're at. So it can be things like in guided meditation and things like that. So you have one, I think, with using a candle. That's a good one to do, where you can light a candle, have that in front of you, have everything else dark in the room, and look past the candle, not actually directly into it, look past it, and then close your eyes, and then you'll kind of have that negative, when you close your eyes, you have that negative image, and try to focus on that and keep building.
By the way, when we say negative image, we don't mean negative. It's negative as in
As in like old school
older.
photography.
Yeah, where you have the negatives of the film.
Yeah. So you see like the opposite color
opposite
of
colors,
everything. Yeah. So it's the opposite. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I forgot that
I
that
just
is
have to
not
think
even
about,
a
wait,
thing.
hang on. They won't know what that is. Or
Yeah,
some
that's not even a
won't know.
thing. Oh my God, I'm so old now. I feel old.
Stop it, you.
That wasn't supposed to make me feel old. That's okay.
No.
But yeah, and another way of trying to keep working with this one is picking particular things and just trying to visualize it constantly. So an orange, just keep working
Picture an
with trying to
orange.
see an orange, picture an orange. See how long you can hold that for. And then before it goes, and see if you can start to increase that time a little bit as well.
Yeah, because like this is one thing is when I was working on the clairs, I literally grabbed an orange and I would like look at the orange for a really long period of time, then close my eyes and bring up the image of the orange in my mind. And then I would do the same with like all the other clairsentience. I'll go as we go through them all.
And also
so
try to
really
get the detail, like get the detail as well of it. So as you start, it might just be kind of an orange ball, but then as you go into it, you might start to see like the little
bumps and ripples
and bumps and things like that. So yeah, try to work with the details and things afterwards. So yeah, so clairvoyance is seeing things, dreams, visions, can be things like daydreams, or literally seeing spirit, like we said. Or can also be like the symbols and signs as well, seeing animals, seeing things pop up in TV or advertisements and things like that that are kind of out of place but have a resonance for you at that particular time.
Yeah, and I guess
all kind of clairvoyance.
So Vicky, do you see words or do you see pictures? And are they movie or are they still?
I often see pictures more so, and they are usually still. I can sometimes see like a proper vision of actually moving through it, but more often than not for me, it's
just
images.
An image.
Yeah.
And is it like realistic
like a photo,
or are they abstract?
Mine are realistic.
Okay.
Because if spirit gave me stuff that's abstract, they know how my mind works. I would be overthinking that shit too much. And I'll be like, oh, does that mean this? Or does this mean that? Or whatever. So for me, they're quite literal. I don't have to go too deep into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I find that because I also have, like when my memory is doing its thing, I actually have quite a photographic memory. I can close my eyes and I can actually see the page. So that's how I can remember things. And that's sort of similar to how I see.
You and I are the same. I'm like that too. I can literally picture, like when I teach a class, I can picture everyone that was in the room, what they're wearing, which position they're standing in, or if I can close my eyes, I can literally just picture the entire room.
I have to do the same thing. Often when people ask me to remember something, I close my eyes and then
it's almost like you're taking a photo with your, like when you blink.
Yeah,
it's like I've taken a photo. Yeah.
And then to recall it, I need to close my eyes and then I can see it again. That's kind of how
I feel.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
That's awesome.
That's how I see. That's how I get the clairvoyance for me.
Yeah.
Is
awesome.
Like that.
I like that. So
so then
let's move on to clairaudience, shall we?
Yes.
So tell us about clairaudience, or do you want me to?
You can say about this one.
Okay.
I'll steal the show.
No, it's all good. So clairaudience, or clear hearing, or clear sound, like audience, like audio. So clairaudience is when you hear spirit or hear sounds in your mind's eye, or sounds that aren't actually in the physical world. So one way that you can do this as an exercise is to play a sound on an instrument or on a like a singing bowl or like something, a bell or whatever. So make the noise for a decent period of time so you can hear it for a while, and then stop the sound. So stop all the vibrations, so there's no sound whatsoever, and then bring up the sound in your mind. Now, I don't know if you, like, some of you may not know this, but people who are musical tend to have a natural sway towards clairaudience because of the fact that if you can grab a tune in your head, and especially if you've got good tone, like if you're tone deaf, I'm sorry, but you're probably not. But if you can hold a tone in your head, for example, when I'm learning this tin whistle, I'm watching learning the score, the musical score on the screen, and I'm looking at it and playing it, but then I can take the visual away and I can find the note just by listening to it. I'm like, yep, that's the right note. And then that's the right note. So you know what I mean? Because I can hear it in my head, and I need it to match the note that's in my head.
See, I can in a very crude way do that. Like I can remember the tune, I can remember the tune, but I couldn't sit there and actually find the correct note.
So if
my brother's very much like that. He can just sit at the piano and he'll just play something.
So
never get taught.
if I was to pick a song, I'm not going to do this on camera because I won't put you on the spot. But I was to pick a song and say, sing the chorus in key. Could you?
No.
Like you couldn't find the note of that thing?
I can find the general sound of it, the general. Because I also haven't done music. Like I don't actually know all the notes and the things. So I just kind of hum to the...
That's okay. There's no tea, no shade. It's all good.
No.
Because for me, this one
isn't one of my strongest.
This is one of my strong ones. So one of my spirits in particular, she talks to me. And for me, that's how I know that it's not me, because the voice is different. My internal voice and her voice are different voices. So sometimes I'll be talking in my internal voice to her and I'll hear her response back. And it's a very different voice and it's distinguishable and she just responds instantly. That's how I know it's not my brain, because I haven't fabricated it with my mind.
Because
like it's literally as if I was having a conversation using my real ears. That's how clear it is to me. But that's come with like years of talking to her internally,
that's the thing,
and externally.
It's building up that relationship and really stop listening with your ears, because that was one of the things. I still remember one of my clients right near the beginning. I remember her laughing at me. Like I could see a picture of her laughing at me because I could see her talking, but I couldn't hear. And she was laughing at me because I kept trying to hear with my ears. She's like, you don't hear with your ears. She was trying to teach me how to feel and all of that sort of stuff.
Interesting.
It was because I guess that kind of logical mind started to take over and I'm trying to hear. I wanted
Geminis.
I know, right? I wanted to hear it because I kept thinking that it should sound exactly the same as like you and I talking now. But then I realized it had to be internal.
Oh, so that you reminded me of a story. So one time I was actually talking to someone and that guide of mine, she said something to me when I was mid-sentence. And so because I was talking out loud to a friend and she said something to me, I then snapped back at her out loud. And then my friend was like, what the fuck? What happened? Because I'm mid-sentence and I've turned, I'm talking to no, not like that. And then I went back to the conversation because for me, it sounded like it's so clear that it sounds like she was talking to me. And so my friend was like, what just happened? And who were you talking to? Because it was just the two of us. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So that's one way to out yourself out of the broom closet.
I was about to say, that's pretty much right out there.
Is to talk to spirits in front of your friends out loud, not in your internal voice. And then,
They know then. Know then. There's no way around it anymore.
So let's explore another one then. Now, this one, I don't have this one naturally, but Chris does. So claircognizance.
See, this one's my biggest one.
So talk us through that one, seeing as you're the expert.
Well, I'm not an expert, definitely.
Compared to me, you are.
So this is clear knowing. It's kind of, you just know stuff.
That's how Chris explains it. I don't know how to explain it. I just know things.
I just know things. Like if you've ever had that where you just started talking or something like that and you kind of gone, oh, where did that come from? Sort of thing. Like, you just splurted out this amazing speech or whatever. And you kind of just go back afterwards and go, where the hell did that come from? That's kind of what it is. I'll just get like a thought will pop into my head or a word or a song, or somehow I'll know how to do something that I haven't actually been taught how to do.
Oh, Chris is like that too. It freaks me out.
Like I can just go, oh, okay, and then if I stop and think about it, I can't do it. But if I just go with it, sometimes it'll just come. Or it's also another one where like you might be talking to somebody, kind of not counseling them, but like you're having a chat with a friend and it's getting a bit deep and meaningful or whatever. And you might give some amazing advice and kind of go, hang on, where did that, it just sort of channels through you a little bit that it comes through. And that's what I find for me. It just pops into my head.
Yeah. See, Chris does this thing where in the early days when he used to say, like, 'cause he used to say things and then it would happen exactly the way he said it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I said, and so I used to ask him, I'm like, did you see that before it happened? He goes, no, I'm not a visual person. I'm like, because he sucks at meditation. He's monkey brain all the time. So, he's like, no. I'm like, what did you hear? Did someone tell you it was going to happen? He's like, no. I'm like, how did you get that? He's like, I just knew. And I'm like, how? And he could never.
I know. It's
so
you can't explain it.
In the past, he's literally just grabbed me my phone and passed me my phone. And I'm like,
why
are you giving me my phone? And then I'm like, and then it would start ringing. And I'm like, what the fuck? And or he'll pass it to me and be like, hi, mum. And then I'll look at it. And 2 seconds later, it will light up and it will say, my mum's calling me. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Or you'll know what they're going to ring to tell you about.
Yeah. So, because he has had this thing where he will get like the thought would just pop in his head and then he'll get emotional all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I'm like, he's a Capricorn, doesn't experience emotion.
Yeah, I was going to say
emotional void. But so when his mood changes, I look at him like, what's going on? And he's like, something's happened. I said, what do you mean something's happened? He goes, I don't know how to explain it, but something's happened. And then he'll literally tell me who and what.
Yeah.
And then I'll like ring them and he goes, no, that'd be weird. Saying, hey, did something just happen to you? I'm like, and then sure enough, within an hour, we'll get a phone call from someone and they would have told me that something happened to that person that he was thinking about. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's me out.
Yeah. Or like, I'll just get somebody will just pop into my head. Like one of my friends might just suddenly pop into my head. And then I know then I've learned to now just embrace it and just say, hey, is everything, just checking in, everything okay or whatever. And sure enough, it's always when they need
catastrophe happens or they need
or they just need a friend to chat to or something like that. Somebody will just pop into my head. And it's one of the hardest ones to actually describe and explain, but it literally just is a thought, like a random thought just pops up in my head. And that's all it is.
I almost say that
it's like I don't know where it comes from. I just know.
I've had some random, like when I say random, like it's not something I can do consciously or something I can make happen, but there have been a few, like maybe on one hand, times when I've just known something and then I've gone about my day and that exact thing has happened. But for me, I almost experience it as like a deja vu. I'm like, wait, this is seeming awfully familiar.
Yeah.
Because it's not something I've seen or felt or heard. It's like I know what's about to happen. I know this whole thing. So for me, I get it more in that sense. That's more like a deja vu.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, hang on. And then I will literally, and then one time I did this with a group of friends. We were in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I was literally sitting at a table with them. And I got this rush of deja vu. And I said, such and such is going to walk out of the building now. And they did. And I said, she's going to sit on that table over there. And then she did. And I said, and now there's the people on the other side of the table are going to argue and one of them's going to leave. And then they did. And it was like, how the fuck do you know this? I'm like, I don't know. I just felt this deja vu sensation. And then my mind is just tracing ahead in the storyline.
Yep.
And it freaked me out. And they actually got a little bit freaked out by me.
I was going to say, you probably freaked the hell out of everybody.
Because they're like, what the fuck? Like, when am I going to die? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know that. Like, they probably thought you're like from the future or something.
Who knows? But that one it's an interesting
But that's what it is. Yeah, that's often what it's just I just know things. Things will pop into my head. But yeah, this one for me is one of the biggest ones. And it's the hardest one to practice. Like, you can't really
practice it. No.
You can't practice it. The only thing I can say that to practice with it is to actually start to get to know your language and what those particular thoughts or things might mean for you, but also start writing things down.
Oh yeah. Do you know what Chris started doing? He started saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Because he used to say, I knew that was going to happen. I was like, oh yeah, right. Like, because something really random, like, yeah, right, as if he knew that was going to happen. So then now when he has this knowing that just pops into his head, he's like, such and such is going to happen. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I'm just telling you now, because in 3 days time when it happens, I told you so. And then literally 3 days later, that event will happen. I'm like, you were fucking right.
Yeah.
And he's like, of course I'm right. I don't doubt myself.
As he never would. But that's a good thing, is to like write it down, and then you start to kind of get to know which thoughts are which. And
because now this is the thing, is that because he's had it for so long, he struggles sometimes to know the difference between what he knows is going to happen and what he is imagining to happen. You know, there's that balance between manifestation and seeing it before it happens.
Yeah.
And so I've had to say to him, because he's a master manifestor in his
that's the trouble,
charts,
isn't it, as well?
Because if he thinks it,
it's going to
most often than not, it happens. So I said to him, chicken and egg, is it that you saw it and therefore it happens? Or because you saw it, you've made it happen? Yeah.
See, that's the eternal question, isn't it? Where did it come from?
Yeah. So I'm like constantly, when he says shit that I don't want to happen, I'm like, cancel, clear, delete, cancel,
Just
clear,
no, no,
delete.
no, no, no.
Universe,
It's like, no, no, no,
don't
no, no.
listen to that one. He
Don't
doesn't want
listen.
that to happen.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's I guess that's the only kind of tip I can give for that one as like an exercise, is literally just keep writing it down.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that exercise.
Yeah.
It's good.
Just to keep it going.
Okay, well, let's move on to my top one then.
I was going to
Because we
say,
just
this
did your
one's
top
your
one.
one, isn't it?
So my top one is clairsentience. Now, clairsentience is like clear touching or clear feeling.
Clear feeling.
So we're talking about the feels, getting the feels. Now, we'll go on to it in a minute, but there are two subsidiaries of this, but we'll come back to them.
We'll come back to them after.
Because with feeling, so with me, I'm a feeler. So I always talk about my feelings being a triple Cancerian, double Scorpio, single Pisces with water, wood, rat. I'm all about the feels. Y'all know this.
All about the feels.
All about
Everywhere.
the feels. Everywhere. Yeah. Everything is the feeling sign.
Yeah.
So I always talk about, I feel this, or I feel like that person doesn't like me, or I feel like we're about to have an argument, or I feel like something's happened. Like my language is always, I feel.
I was going to say, you look for your language as well, because that's one of the key things.
Yeah. And it's like, people always ask me a question and I'm going to say, I don't feel like I want to do that today. You know what I mean? Anything. Yeah. I always check in with my feelings.
I don't know if I want to do that or whatever. See, because I would use
because you say I don't know, beginning the knowing.
Knowing, yeah.
Where you say I can't see myself doing that, being clairvoyance, like see. But yeah, so I'm always talking about feelings. But so for me, clairsentience, how does it?
How do you perceive it, kind of thing?
There's several different ones. So okay, how to unpack this? So there's one is if I'm walking through a shopping center.
Yeah.
And someone has been arguing and I haven't been paying attention, and then they've dispersed or left separated and I've walked through that area, I will pick up on their emotions.
Yeah. So you've walked through that emotion basically.
But this I would almost class as being clairempathy, which is one of the subsidiaries. So it's clairempathy. It's where you feel an emotion of someone else. But it's still, to me, it's connected to my clairsentience.
It is. That's still one of the
Another one for me is I get like the heebie-jeebies when I walk into a room. Like I can feel a positive or negative vibe off a room.
You just kind of get that feeling.
You get an icky feeling, and I'm like, nah, I'm not staying here. And I've had that a few times. This is why people don't understand why I get so close to people when I first meet them, and why I'm a hugger.
Oh, because you keep picking up on that energy.
I hug them, showing I'm a loving, caring person. As soon as I'm in your auric field, I'm feeling your energy.
I'm just scanning you out. I'm finding everything out.
And once I'm close enough to you, I have sussed you out like this.
That's it.
Your energy don't lie.
That's it.
So there's that, how it manifests. Then there's also, if I'm doing like a reading for someone, or because I am a feeler and I feel emotions a lot, I recognize little nuances and changes in my emotional state and in my physical physiology. And so, for example, if I'm doing a reading for someone and I get my legs feel heavy, then for me, I've learned that means that they're like, they're anchored too deeply. They don't want to move. They're stuck. It's like a stuck feeling. I've also had one where I felt like an emptiness in my chest. And for me, it's like they're suffering loss or grief of some description. Or if I get like butterflies in my stomach, they're nervous about something. So it's like I physiologically feel what the other person is going through. And because I know what I feel when I get that sensation, that's what I say to them. Because obviously spirit source universe is talking to me in a language that I recognize.
Yes. And see, that's the biggest thing, isn't it? Is learning what it is for you, like learning that unique language of what that feeling means for you, because spirit will use your previous experiences or something that resonates for you. They'll frame it in a way that has some kind of meaning for you, and that's how you can then relay that message. So no two people would necessarily feel that same thing, would have the same meaning. Not
at all. So they say that also empaths are usually clairsentient because they're picking up on people's emotional state, and healers as well. So if you do any hands-on healing, if you're Reiki, crystal healing, any form of healer or massage or anything that's touch oriented, those people tend to have clairsentience running in them, which is why they're so prone to touching. So I always say that, I mean, I don't know, prove me if I'm wrong, but usually those who have clairsentience are more inclined to be huggers, or like
it could be too.
They like to touch, like they show affection through touch. That's their love language.
Yeah.
Because to them, that's what feels normal.
That would be,
touch.
it's that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's how I talk about it as well. Like,
that's a really good.
From all the ones I know, they tend to be more touchy-feely.
Yeah.
Because
this one for me is probably on par with clairvoyance. This is probably like the next sort of step down.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with this one a little bit because being the Gemini that I am,
you don't hug.
We don't really do feelings. We feel them, but we don't really do them outside.
We don't really do feelings.
We don't really do that. I don't really do that.
I love it.
I'm great with other people's stuff, not so much with my own. So so I do feel a lot of this sort of stuff, but for me it's actually hard at times to discern which one's me and which one's not. So it's me. I have to just simply practice with it more. And
you need to calm yourself first. Yeah. You have to be grounded and centered.
Yeah. Whereas the other ones, they'll just kind of come, and whether I'm centered or not. I mean, I always find I get the best messages once I'm calm and centered. This one, I have to really calm, center, breathe, because like I said with the yogic, that helps me. So I have to breathe so that I can get in touch with how I'm feeling. So then anything else that comes in, I'm like, okay, that's not me. Has some kind of meaning.
I would almost say that in all of these, when trying to develop them, even if you're just spontaneously wanting to talk to spirit or whatever, I would say you should always calm and center yourself anyway as a practice. So then that way you are in that neutral state. So then you are fully psychically aware of all the perceptions.
That's right. Because the inside is all already sorted. You're already sorted and calm and collected. Then that whatever comes in can come in much easier.
So an extension from this, now we touched on clairempathy, which is obviously feeling people's emotions, but the other one that is often connected to touch is clairtangency.
Yes.
Do you want to tell them a little bit about clairtangency?
Yeah, so it's often, other people you might know are also as psychometry, where you need to actually physically touch an object, and then from touching that object you get some kind of feeling, whatever, some kind of message from
My auntie does this.
Yeah, does she?
I love when I go over, sometimes I'll literally just take my ring off and I just hand it to her without saying anything. I'm like, here you go. And she'll just and then she'll start rattling off all these things.
I love that. So it's usually like jewelry or things that have
usually something that has an emotional or sentimental attachment.
Meaning. Or something that you wear all the time.
Yeah, it needs your energy in it.
Yeah, has your energy in it, so they can read the energy from an object. Very much.
I know
as good with this one.
Either am I.
I think I've done it a few times and I've done it super accurately, but it's not something I can literally just pick something up and do it.
Yeah, either am I.
I've got a friend that does that. She can just pick something up and she goes, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, see,
I'm like, oh, that's pretty.
This is why I struggle with this one, clairtangency, and until I understood that they were two different things, I was like, well, I'm clairsentient. Why can't I feel the energy of a room? I feel the energy of people. Why can't I feel the energy of an inanimate object? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not the same.
No, it's not.
Because I guess of a person, when you're feeling the energy of a room or whatever, that's kind of, it's not static to some degree. It's changing and you're in a part of it. You can feel it moving. It's that living energy, whereas that's a little bit, I guess it's static. I don't know. I don't know.
I know people who do it on they grab a photo face down and they touch the back of the photo and they can tell you what's on the photo. And I'm like,
so what?
Fuck it, burn the witch. No,
that's it. That's when you get outed really easily. But yeah, that's how I've tried it before. We did it in a group exercise and we actually put objects into an envelope, and we actually weren't even allowed to, if we wanted to hold them outside of the envelope, we had to keep our eyes closed so that we couldn't kind of guess from what the object was, if it was somebody's that we knew, and did it that way. That was one time I did do it, and I held something and I described this lady's grandpa's house to a T.
Wow.
And it was his medal.
That's cool.
But that's literally that was my one and only awesome time of doing it. Well, actually, it's not one that I do.
I was just thinking, as a way to develop this one, obviously other than
it's literally just practicing it.
But the other thing you can do, so if you're wanting to see whether you're clairsentient, this is one that I used to do. I don't know why I did this, but I rub my hands together and then I pull them apart.
Oh, I feel the
and
energy.
The energy between them. And then once you feel it, you can move it around and you almost feel like this.
It feels like two magnets.
So I'm doing it right now. Like, so it's like two magnets.
You go up
I'm trying to put my hands together and I can't. They're like repelling each other.
And so your hands kind of roll up and down a little bit. That's how I always describe it. It's like when you're trying to do two magnets together and one will roll up and one will roll down. It's that same kind of thing.
And so then,
see, I can feel energy and stuff that way.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more the emotions and stuff I have trouble deciphering.
It's called cry every once in a while.
I know. I do.
It's just saline coming out of your...
I do. It's just like when somebody dies on a TV show or something like that. Okay. Just not in real life.
So tell us then about clairalience.
See, this one is also a big one for me. And I didn't realize that it was even a thing for a long time. So this is clear smelling, and where you will...
Remember when I called it clear smellingly?
Yeah, clear smellingly. It's clear smellingly.
Because I didn't know the word for it. I was like, oh, you know, when you have clear, you do things clear smellingly. Like, you know, clear smelling.
I'm like, what's that? So it's when like a random smell that shouldn't kind of be there suddenly pops up. You smell things. And I didn't actually know that this was such a thing. I didn't realize for a while that I was smelling stuff that other people weren't.
So I've had this happen. I shared this with a couple of shout out to Nicole and Laurie. I was chatting to them the other day about this. And I was saying that one time I was talking to someone and like, I can't remember where we were, but there was like just normal smells like flowers and around us. And then all of a sudden I got this smell, a wafting smell of rotting flesh.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I've ever smelt it, but I instantly knew
have that it
was a rotting smell.
Yeah.
And I actually said to them, like, you've been around someone who's passed on like recently. And she's like, because she hadn't told anyone. And I said, yeah, like you've been around someone who's passed on. And they're like, how do you know that? I said, I'm just picking up on something. And then after that, I saw an image of someone going like this. And I said, the words, she's saying thank you for staying there while she passed because no one else could. Because no one else was available. And then she started crying. She's like, oh my God. Yes, I was the only one who was available. Anyway, so like it was like it literally all I smelled was rotting flesh. Yeah, but you got to the other the other senses kicked in as well. Because that's what happened to me. I can still remember it the very first time when I actually realized that it was an actual thing. That I wasn't just that everybody else could smell it as well, was when I was in my lounge room, which is down the other end from my laundry. I hadn't done any laundry. I hadn't done any washing or bathroom or anything like that. I hadn't put away any clothes or anything. And I was in the front room and I just had this massive waft of, the only way I can describe it is like fresh linen, like that laundry, that clean laundry smell. I love that. Like, there was nowhere for it to have come from, because like I hadn't just done any, I hadn't folded clothes or put them away. And then I kind of tuned into it a little bit, and then that's when I saw a flash. That's when the clairvoyance came in, and I saw a picture, an image of a woman who was in like a Victorian kind of clothes and stuff, and kept going from there. But I'll often just smell random things, and now I've learned to just go, can you smell this? To see if I'll say it to the people around me. I'm like, can you smell something around you? So for me, I've had this sensation. Out of place. Yeah, I get a lot for if I'm in a crowded place, I'll get a waft of a specific cologne. Yeah. That Chris used to wear when he was like 20. Wow. And it's a cologne that was a knockoff cheap version of a Dolce brand from way back when. It's out of production. Don't even get it anymore. Get it anywhere. There's no one has it. I've looked for it because I love it so much. Because for me, it's a nostalgic smell. And I'll just be walking through a busy crowd and I'm like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, who's that? Who's wearing it? Where's it coming from? Because I want to find someone who is actually wearing it to then like ask them where did they get it from? Like, you know what I mean? And the funny thing is that I said to Chris, I'm like, oh my God, a friend of mine who was coaching, I went to her house to do some coaching with her, and she had these like reed sticks and the fragrance. As soon as I walked in, I recognized it. I'm like, I need to know what that smell is. And then when I showed it to Chris, he's like, it doesn't smell anything like it. And I'm like, but it does to me. So my nose is like changing the receptors to be that smell, which was bizarre. But anyway, so literally, I know that smell doesn't exist because I've tried to look for it. Tried to find it. And so when I get a waft of it, it's usually when I'm thinking about him fondly, or if I'm like, for example, let's just say we had an argument and I'm cursing him in my head.
It's kind of the nice thing.
And then I'll get this wafted smell like,
okay.
Oh, wait. Remember
That's
the good
right.
times.
I do
Don't
love
focus
you.
on the arguments.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, that's right. That's cool. I love that.
So
and I usually just get random smells.
And for actually, this is one that to know if that is one of your dominant ones is I always say that people who are more susceptible to having their emotional state changed as a result of smelling like smelly candles or like fragrance candles, sorry, like, ones that have a scent. Scented candles is the word I'm looking for. Smelly candles.
Smelly candles.
Scented candles or aromatherapy, essential oils, incense. Like if you're someone who is more susceptible to that stuff, like you smell something, it changes your energy or changes your mood. Like you really,
see, that's why I spray my sprays a lot of times.
And see, so Chris does this thing where he has to sniff everything before it goes into his mouth. Oh wait, food. He has to smell. Oh my God.
Oh, sorry.
Smell
food.
Yes. So if we go to a restaurant, he literally picks up the plate, he holds it on his nose,
smells it,
and he smells everything before he eats it. And I used to say to him, like, why the fuck do you do that? Because he'll literally, and he'll say to our friends, if we're out, like, getting like street food from like random street food vendors, like the food trucks or whatever, he literally says, he's like, oh, can I smell that? And they're like,
no.
Like, our friends are like, what the fuck? It's like, I just want to smell it. It's not weird. I just want to smell it. And then he's like,
I love that he has to say it's not weird.
Because, well, for him, smelling it tells him what it's going to taste like.
Yeah, he can already kind of.
He's got this weird connection. When he smells something, he knows what it's going to taste like. Because the smell, well, you know that obviously the two are connected.
Yeah, that's right.
So like that's like if you can't stand doing shots of tequila, just block your nose and shot it.
Yeah, that's it.
If you can't smell it, you don't taste it the same.
Yeah, it doesn't taste the same. And
I don't know why I went to tequila. I hate tequila. Anyway.
I was going to say, that one's always a bit harsh, but...
Well, that was actually another good segue.
Yes.
But before we go segue.
Okay.
The way to picture this one. So, okay, Vicky, I want you to close your eyes.
Okay. I have.
Now I want you to take a nice big, delicious breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And now just take another deep breath in and just pay attention to the scents that are in the room. And just be aware of them. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to bring up the smell of chocolate. So smell that delicious Cadbury dairy milk.
Yes.
As if you're savoring that, you're just So, and the reason, and you can break state whatever you want, but no, the reason why I chose
my mouth is salivating at the moment. It's like, yes.
I did this on you because this is one of the ones that is more natural for you.
Yeah.
But so for you, like usually a scent that you have had a lot of.
See, I have to keep swallowing now because
like, can you taste it too?
No.
Oh damn! So that means you don't have the last Claire.
No.
But anyway, so no, if you picture a smell of something, like for example, with you using the orange analogy, if you see the orange, then after that, feel the orange in your hands, and then put it down, and then see if you can if you can sense what it would feel like.
Yes.
And then after that, like peel the orange, like psychically,
go through
so you can feel, and then bring up the smell of orange, because everyone smelt an orange. Now, do you know the funniest thing is? So with one of my friends, so shout out to Pam. I'm not sure if she still listens to the show, but she used to. But she has that condition where you have no sense of smell.
Oh, my mother-in-law has that as well. She can't smell anything.
Yeah, I'm like, good to have.
Sometimes.
You think it's good to have, except she believes it's going to affect her sense of taste.
Oh.
Because she can't smell it, so maybe it tastes change, because she doesn't know things taste the same that they taste to her. So she went out and bought, like, because she knew that her boyfriend like likes to eat a lot of like sweet things.
Yes.
Like she went out and bought all these candles because she doesn't know what that smells like. She's like, oh, well, he likes to eat chocolate, he likes to eat vanilla, he likes to eat caramel, and she bought all these sweet smelling candles, and he's like, I can't fucking stand the candles, they're so overpowering, they're so sickening. And she goes, but you like these things? He goes, I like to eat them.
I want to eat them. I don't want to smell
them. Like she goes, oh, and so then she went through this phase of, well, I like the taste of coconut, so she bought coconut, and he's like, it's so rank. And so like there's this whole thing, And when I bought these candles that I use from Endota Spa, I was trying to describe them to her. I'm like, oh my God, I found this most amazing candle. It smells so delicious. It's got like bergamot and this and the ylang-ylang. And she's like, what?
I don't know what that is.
What does that mean?
What does that smell like?
Oh, the smell is just like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. How do you even describe that?
You can't.
Because everything is like a reference point.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I was even trying to like
fruity.
It's kind of citrusy.
What's that?
Like,
yeah. What's that?
I'm like, oh. And she's like, is it like mint? Because I think I can smell mint. I said, what do you mean? She goes, because you know when you eat mint, how it has a very distinct taste. I'm like, yeah. She's like, good. And I can feel the sensation of my nose opening up, but I don't know if I'm actually sensing the smell or if it's just that sensation of everything opening.
Everything opening.
It's like a very fresh opening smell. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know.
So then, is she perceiving smell through another sense now? In a way, do you know what I mean? Like she could feel the difference because that was like an opening from the other.
Well, yeah, because I wonder then.
Yeah, if she
through
could maybe
taste, she thinks that things would smell good based on how it tastes.
Yeah, by how it tastes, or by how she then perceives it, like you said with the mint, how it's that open.
Because it's true. Because if I get food, like giving shit to my husband, if I get food and I smell it, I'm like, oh, yuck, that's rank.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not even going to eat that. I'm not even going to try it.
And it could taste amazing, but if it stinks, no. Forget it.
Nope.
Not doing this. No.
Hey, go there.
So that connects us to the last one, which is clairgustance.
I love the sound of that.
Clairgustance. So clairgustance is being able to, it's like clear tasting.
Tasting,
So it's being able to taste something.
I've got no idea with this
that isn't present. So I would say that when I can physically smell something,
yes,
I can taste it.
Okay.
So
okay.
I don't know if I can go so far as to imagining a taste in my mouth that isn't present. But if I, for example, smell something like a food item, I know straight away what it's going to taste like.
Oh.
Like I just know if I'm going to like it or not like it.
I'm basically just like, oh, that smells yummy.
No, but
so that'll be yummy. That's all I go with.
Some things that I've smelled, I'm like,
so like you can
smells good, but I ain't going to enjoy that. And they're like, no, seriously, it tastes good. And I'll take a bite for them. Yuck, no.
So you can.
I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is to do with clairgustance.
Well, it probably is because it would be probably a little bit between the two, like the two kind of intertwining. Yeah, because I can smell something and I'm like, oh, that smells yummy. I'll just have a go because I think it's going to taste yum, not because I know what the particular kind of flavors or anything would be. So no. I think it is.
For me, it's kind of like, for example, if someone was to say to me, like I could literally sit here and picture any taste and I can taste it in my mouth. Like if you were to give me a taste of something that
I say like an orange, biting into an orange.
I'm swallowing a few times to clear the palate.
Yeah, to kill it.
Yeah.
You can taste it.
I can taste orange.
See, I realized I can perceive the taste, not necessarily actually taste it in my mouth.
Yeah, it's not a physical taste. It's like I can taste it, but it's not on my tongue. But I clear my palate first anyway, just as I do.
So you can bring it in. I guess mine is more. No, see, I don't really. I can smell it more. See, look.
I think the orange was off.
Orange is a bit too. It was a manky one.
I got that like aftertaste of orange.
You know, like
juice.
when you have where you get like the. Almost like the skin kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Oh, no. See, I don't get that at all. I can probably smell it more, picture it.
Yeah.
Know what it's kind of like to bite into it, that sensation. And then I guess somewhere in the logic brain, it knows what it tastes like.
See, okay. So here's an interesting thing. Now, I know I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah, we love
So my mum bakes Black Forest cake.
Oh, yum.
Chocolate sponge, fresh cream, morello cherries that have turned into that jelly stuff with the cherries in it still.
Yeah.
I love my mum's Black Forest cake.
Yeah.
I used to pick the cherries out.
I was going to say,
I'd leave the jelly.
Yeah.
Now I eat the cherries. And then at Christmas time, I bought a massive box of cherries for the house. And Chris was like, oh my God, these are delicious. I'm like, I've never eaten a cherry. He goes, you eat your mum's Black Forest cake all the time. I'm like, yeah, but something about cherries makes me think I won't like them. He's like, why?
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's like when I grab cherries, like there's nothing enticing about the smell, the look, the taste, the texture, the feel of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, just fucking try one. And so I bit into it, and he said, "Warning, there's a pip." As I bit in, and I was like,
Yeah.
because I normally have pitted cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bit into it. I actually enjoyed the taste.
Oh.
But that was the first time I ever ate cherries in 36 years. Was at Christmas time.
And that's so interesting because you actually moved past that.
There's
nothing appealing about it.
It required a lot of coaxing, and for example, for the same reason, because I'm a feeler.
Yeah.
I love the taste of apricot jam or peach things. I love the taste of something with peach or apricot, like peach tea or whatever, like peach tasting or apricot tasting things. I will not eat a peach or an apricot because they've got fur.
I was gonna say it's a textural thing.
I can't.
Yep, I have so many like that. That's a textural thing.
Same with kiwi fruit. I love the taste of kiwi.
Onion.
Cannot eat kiwi fruit.
Can't have onion.
Oh, really?
I will not eat onion.
I love onion.
But I love the flavor that onion gives to food. But it's the texture. It's
so you need to grate it really tiny.
Yeah, like if you chucked it in there, pureed it or something, so I don't actually bite into it. It's fine.
Well, see, I can't do big chunks of onion, like grilled onions on the barbecue. No way.
Yeah, but no, it's a textual thing. It's the biting into it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
we're weirdos.
Very textural. I've realized that over the years that I'm actually very textural with my food.
It's for that reason why I won't eat seafood.
Oh yeah.
Like prawns.
I'm veggie now, but I never used to eat seafood even when I ate meat.
I only started eating prawns when we started going to Yum Cha because they're in everything.
Yeah, you just kind of have to.
And for me,
and it's probably the most meatiest kind of seafood, maybe.
Than the pork or the chicken.
No. I meant of seafood.
Oh yeah. It's very
texturally,
fleshy. It's very.
More...
Yeah, no, I can't do crab meat. Can't do any.
Oysters. Like big snot balls.
Yeah, I'm the same. Look at us now. We've gone off on a tangent talking about food.
Now we've gone to the other senses.
Okay,
but it's
so reeling it in.
Really.
So, how do you know that what you're perceiving is real?
Yes. So this is always a big question, isn't it? That's always the big thing. Is it real? For me, it's, and especially being Gemini who's prone to overthinking things, it's that first quick, instant thing, depending on whether it's a smell, a feeling, a thought. It's got to be that instant. If you kind of got to think about it for like 10 seconds or something, then it's not. Then it's your
because then your brain's creating
it kind of thing. It's that's how I've always perceived it. Like if my guides are talking to me or an image or something, it's that instant image, and you've got to start to learn to trust that very first thought or that very first. I say thought a lot because that's what I get. But whatever it is, whether it's a feeling or
for me,
a smell
it's a feeling.
or a sound or all of those things, it's that first quick kind of thing. That's one of the things I think.
Yeah, for me, that's like if we're talking about, for example, clairaudience, if I ask a question out loud and then I hear a response instantly, it's there's no more delay than me asking your question now.
If you go, then it's not.
No. That's the first thing I would say.
What's your name?
Darren. Oh.
It's like that. Yeah. It's that quick, instant response.
Yeah.
There's no delay.
Exactly.
Because otherwise that's when the conscious mind is kind of coming in and
it's trying to play and create and imagine and
yeah. So it's that instant thing. I think that's the biggest one, is starting to learn to trust it a little bit.
Yeah, that's the same as because I'm so aware of my body physiologically. I know my homeostasis, so I know what my natural state is.
Yeah.
Even when I'm in a heightened state of emotion,
still know what that
I still know I'm heightened. So all of a sudden, if something changes, I'm like, that's not mine.
Hang on, that wasn't it.
Yeah, and so when I'm if I'm in close proximity with someone, because this is another thing, like clairsentient people, and there's a whole thing called transference and countertransference. You probably learned about it when you did counseling.
Yeah.
So it's that whole thing of when you're taking on the emotions or the story of the person or picking up on some energy of them.
Yeah.
And it's not yours. And so transference happens, and then countertransference when you it's that whole
project it to somebody else kind of thing.
Yeah. So you then need to learn to go, wait, that's not mine. So I had to learn this in Reiki, because a lot of the times when I was doing Reiki, which is energy passing through you, I would then be getting energy back to me, like almost like a ricochet bouncing effect, where I'd be giving them energy, but they're giving me energy too. So my Reiki master, she recognized it straight away. She's like, stop taking their energy. I'm like, what? And it's not that I was taking energy out that I was giving them. It was that I was getting the emotions.
Taking back on whatever it was that you were kind of healing.
That I was healing. So I had to then, because I couldn't control it, I'd be giving them Reiki while receiving their energy, and I'd have to send it through my feet.
Yeah.
Back down into the earth to neutralize it. Back down. Yeah. Because that's something that often happens.
I was going to say that's something to be really aware of, especially if you are really clairsentient, is to be able to disconnect from that emotion or be able to move it through you, not to then
just turn your emotions off like the vampires do.
Just turn them off, or just be a Gemini. Just no. We don't.
Can you imagine me without feelings?
Oh, no, I cannot. I can't. See, look, you're even doing it with your facial expressions now.
I think it'd be fun to just not feel things for a day.
It really, yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
I joke and say I don't do emotions. I just don't project the outside world doesn't know my emotions. I'm chaos going on inside.
I just want to know, what is it like to be an emotional void? Yeah. What is it like to be a Capricorn?
I love it. I was waiting for it.
No, I'm Capricorn Rising, so I know how to turn them off.
But isn't that so funny how something that's is so opposite to you, it's so opposite to how you are, you can't even almost perceive what that would be like.
Oh no, for me, because it's my rising sign, I can I know when to turn it off and become an ice queen.
Yeah,
just icy nothing. I'm dead inside. But I can't sustain that long term.
No,
that's a short-term projection. But no, yeah. I've often wondered, because that's what I actually do. I get in touch with my Capricorn rising when I need to go to a busy mall, or if I go to a funeral, or
that's it.
A hyper emotional situation. I'm like, ice queen, no emotion, turn the feelings off, done. Let's go. I have to actually do that in when I'm coaching some people. I have to turn my emotions off.
That would be hard, yeah.
Especially because I don't know where the conversation is going to go when I'm talking about certain things. And if there's something that's going to trigger me because I'm hyper emotional, it's inappropriate to become emotional in a coaching session.
Yeah, that's
right.
So
I have to switch my emotions off. But anyway, I've gone off on another fucking tangent.
We always go on tangents. It's fine.
So is it real?
Is it real? So for me, I think it's really trusting that first. Again, I was going to say first thought, because that's my most, the one that comes to easiest to me. So it's that first thought, first sound, first feeling, first whatever. If you have to think about it too much, then that's when it starts the mind gets in.
Yeah. I think. And it's the same with me. And this is the interesting thing. So I was talking about this, and that's a bit of a segue to spirit guides, but maybe we'll do an episode on that.
Yeah, I think that'd be
good. Maybe we could do that next.
Maybe we can. I like it. Let's do that.
I like it. Let's do that. Let's talk about people's spirit guides, the type of guides you have, blah, 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 their purposes, whatever. So for me, my different spirit guides communicate with me differently. This is another way I know who I'm dealing with. Because one of my main guides, she communicates through sound. So she's through my clairaudience. I hear her speaking.
So you hear like a conversation with her.
I hear her like a conversation. And she likes to clap back and be sassy with me. And that's how I know it's her. Because why am I going to give myself sass?
Yeah, that's it.
I give sass to other people, not to myself.
That's it. And I'm not doing
so when someone's giving me sass, it's either my husband or her or you. Not as much you, but sometimes. But yeah, so the sass normally comes from someone else. I'm not going to give sass to myself. So she gives me sass, and I'll be literally mid-sentence. She'll correct me. I'm like, oh, sorry. And then I'll keep going.
Yeah.
So she communicates me that way. There's another one of my guides. He doesn't speak.
Yeah.
As in, I see him with his mouth does not move. When I'm in deep trance meditation, he appears as what I would imagine a monk would look like. He's always sitting in lotus position, legs crossed up on a cushion, and he's always in his robes. And I get feelings from him. When I talk to him, if I'm asking him a question and the answer is yes, he gives me a positive feeling, meaning I'll all of a sudden feel joy or happiness or bliss or euphoria or whatever. If then the answer is something negative or a no response, he will make me feel cold or empty or distant or whatever. So he communicates with me through emotions.
Yeah, and kind of almost like a pendulum with the yes, no sort of thing.
But sometimes it gets complex because I have to ask him questions in a way that he's able to respond using that
Yeah, in a way then that you can then decipher what
it means,
what the feelings are.
And then I have another guide of mine who communicates with me. Actually, how does he communicate? Actually, have I ever heard him talk? No, him I hear speak in my internal voice. He doesn't have a different voice to mine. Yeah, because I was about to say,
that's something that can happen as well. It's not always in a different voice than yours. It
him
can
I hear as my
be
own
in your voice as well.
And I actually asked him once why because I said to him, why am I hearing you in my own voice? And he actually said, you don't want to hear my voice.
Oh.
I'm like, why? And basically he alluded to the fact that it would scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cheers.
Apparently it's quite loud, scary, ferocious, deep. Like it would be put it this way, the way he looks. The way he looks, it's very like the first time I ever met him, I fucking shat myself because I thought it was something coming for me.
Yeah.
And I saw him clear as day, like as in I was in my room, there was ambient light in the room, like the lights were off, but there was ambient light.
Physical kind of.
And I saw this black shadow as if someone was actually standing in my room. I screamed so loud, my sister ran into my room because I didn't know I thought someone was actually in my room because behind him was my window and my blinds weren't that blockout blinds. So I could see the moonlight coming in and I just saw this shadow and I thought someone was in my fucking room.
Just actually come in.
I was shitting myself. So he gives me claircognizance. So he pops a knowing. So
he does pop a knowing.
But he puts it in my head.
Yes.
I can't do it on my own. I have to ask him. He puts the knowing in my head.
He will give you the thought.
He's projecting the thought to me. But I'm probably the most visual with no, he's more cognizance. My last one, Nur is a visual.
Yeah.
I go into meditation or journeying or something and I see him, and when I ask him questions, he shows me like scenes of a movie.
Yeah.
And it's either I'm in the movie or I'm watching the movie is a different sensation for me. Like if I'm in it or if I see myself in it. So I'm associated or disassociated. And then it will show me doing different activities, but he uses visuals that I can relate to. So I understand the visual.
It's got some kind of point of reference for you to it. Yeah.
But so him I'm very visual with. Yes, I won't go in that conversation because that something pops into my head. I'm like, no.
Yes, no, we don't need that on there.
We don't need to go into that part of the talking.
I guess also another way you can kind of tell whether is it real or is it just me thinking up? If it's something that's often it's something that's completely random, like super out of place. Like it's
you're like,
really
where did that come from?
Where the hell was that? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
That's also another way to kind of get a bit of a hint as to it's something.
And also especially if you're using this for like reading or channeling or doing a message for someone, it doesn't have to make sense to you. It has to make sense to your client. So whilst they will communicate with you in a way that makes sense to you, so that sometimes I've had the most random because like one time I literally saw an image of a cow and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
I have point of reference for that.
Exactly. I'm like, and so I said to my client, I'm like, I just got this weird image in my head and it's of a cow. And they're like, oh, that's okay. My family had cows. I'm like, okay. She goes, can you describe it to me? I'm like, yeah, it's black with white splotches all over it, like black and white, kind of splotchy. She goes, yeah, we're dairy farmers. I'm like, oh. And so that
was a way of validating.
Of connecting with her.
Yeah.
So cool. And then from there, I went on with talking about other things and whatever. But that was a way of validating to her that the information I was saying was not things that I would know.
Yes.
Because I would have no way of knowing that she came from dairy farming family.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's another thing that Spirit did that as a way of giving her a confirmation that what is being channeled is true and all of that stuff. But yeah.
And also what I just thought as well, how do we then use these sometimes? Like what are some things that we would use the clairs for? Like you just said then, like doing readings and messages for other people. But like what other ways would you use them? Sorry, I just put that on.
No, that's okay. I'm happy to answer it. So for me, clairvoyance I mainly use for readings or I use for like my day-to-day. So I use clairvoyance when I do what's called I project my day before it's happened.
You said about that. Yes.
So I do that where I visualize my day happening.
Yeah.
in my mind. So then I release it. So I'm basically telling universe, this is the command. This is what I want my day to look like.
Yeah.
So I use clairvoyance for that. Sometimes I get clairvoyance when I'm just talking to someone. I'll get an image of something and then I'll just say it. Like, so it's usually for channeled messages.
Yeah.
Various different forms.
Yeah.
I've had clairvoyance come up during healings in the past when I used to do more healings. I don't do them so much these days. I guess they're the main things for clairvoyance. Clairaudience is more about receiving information.
Yeah.
Like I'll hear my guides talking to me.
Yeah.
That's usually, I think that's exclusively for them. I have never heard, I don't think, no, I've never heard a message for someone. It's normally for me. Clairaudience is exclusively for me.
For you. Yeah.
Clairsentience, it's either to change what I'm doing. So I'll get like, for example, easiest one is when you're walking in down like a dark corridor.
Yes.
And you get that yuck feeling,
like,
leave.
All right,
it's
go.
like telling you danger's
that's
there.
It. It's like, no, I need to go from here now.
So I have it for that. I also use my clairsentience when I'm doing space clearing.
Yes.
So if I'm trying to strip the energy out of a house, so when I'm doing my saging or whatever, I clairsentiently feel if the energy has shifted. If it hasn't, I keep going.
Yeah.
It's not about how much it smells in there or doesn't smell.
No,
I have to feel the energy change.
The energy. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that one has come up for me, especially when I'm talking to people and if I'm hugging them or we're just like being affectionate in some way, like touching them in some way, I'll get clairsentient information. And it could just be to help me hold space for them.
Yeah, so that you've got that, you have that knowing of,
because I'll pick up their vibe and then I know what person I need to be for them at that point in time. Claircognizance, as I said, it's usually for me, it's a message thing from one of my guides. Clairalience is the smelling one. So that one is usually when, as I said, it's usually only that thing of when I smell that random fragrance that I know doesn't exist.
That has something, has a little bit of a message to it.
Clairgustance, it's not one that I use regularly for anything. No. It's more like just a fun party trick to have.
I was going to say it's
that no one else can experience except me. So
yeah.
Clairtangency, I've never been good at. Oh, and actually, I lie. Clairtangency, I like to feel energy off trees.
Oh, yes. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, we're connecting with.
I like to touch trees.
Yeah.
Or I'll hug my cat and I'll feel her energy. And for me, when I'm patting her or when I hold her, that's my way. Like I do this thing where I hold her, or if I'm patting her, I put my forehead on her forehead, and then I don't know if I hear them, see them, feel them, but I get her what she's saying
from her. Yeah,
I can hear her talking. Well, I don't know, but see, I don't hear it. I don't see it. It's almost like I feel what she's thinking.
Yes. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And then clairempathy, that's like, so I'm a sneaky witch. I project. I use clairempathy to read someone, but then I project energy to change people's energy. Yeah. I talked about this when I was talking about, what episode was it?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we talked about it on air, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It was talking about how when I do things in Zumba, and I project the energy out and I change the energy in the room. Because I manipulate the energy so that everyone leaves in a better state than when they got there.
Yeah. And hold it all up.
What about you? How do you use these, or what do you use them for?
I'm very similar. And then it's also, I guess you can use them as well for how you might perceive like your spell work or casting a circle or things like that as well. Like, so for instance, I might see the circle or feel the circle, whereas somebody else might hear a sound or have a smell or something like that. So it's also good to know which clairs work for you so that you can then start to work with that a little bit more like in your day-to-day life and in spell work or ritual work and things like that. So I use it that way. And then mine's very similar to yours. It's usually if it's something that maybe a message I need to do, or I need to, like I said, like I'll get a thought of one of my friends or something. And so then I know that I need to check in with them, or I need to call them or something like that. Or sometimes it could just be that there's someone hanging around, there's spirits hanging around, and that's who's kind of popped in and I need to perhaps do something. But yeah, and with my guides, it's very visual and knowing and those kind of things as well. So it's tapping in with my guides and things as well. So yeah, it's very similar kinds of things.
Oh, and then I guess in the mundane world, the clairaudience I use for when I'm playing an instrument or when I'm singing.
Using it. Yeah.
Like I'll picture the tune in my head and then I'll match it out loud with my actual voice with the tune that's in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's the only other way that I use clairaudience is for music.
And I use clairvoyance a lot for like when I'm casting circles or if I'm doing
you visualize what you're doing.
Visualize what I'm doing.
Like for example, if you're
I can
casting
literally
you visualize the circle.
Yeah, I can see the circle, or I could even just sit there and I can do it just do it all in my head rather than physically. I can do it all as well. Or
you know what? You are right.
Sigil.
Yeah, I do that as well when I'm doing if I'm teaching meditation.
Yes.
So I visualize
I will see the guided meditation, like where they've got to go
before they do. Before
they go there.
I'm basically I'm going there and describing it to take them with me.
I do the same thing. Like if I'm taking people through a guided meditation and it's in a forest somewhere or something, I'll be standing in the forest first, almost like I'm looking around and go, well, see the trees around you or this and that and whatever. It's almost like I'm seeing it in the same spot.
Yeah. Actually, I think it is one thing in closing. I think what we should also address is whilst we're telling you to practice these skills and the more you do them, the more you become familiar with them, it's also important to practice, what would you call it? Like psychic first aid, like psychic self-care. So just don't overdo it.
Yeah, that's it.
Is channeling.
Have just a time and a place for it and that's it. And then take a rest.
Because channeling does actually take a lot of energy to do.
Yeah. That's it. You got to remember that it is actually an energetic thing. It's a way you're perceiving energy. So you are using energy in one way or another. So
which is why I can't do back to back readings in a day. I always have to give myself a break after every reading that I do.
Yeah.
To wipe the slate clean and then go again. Because otherwise I'm mixing up energies between people and the readings get blurred and Yeah.
See, I even find it like when I'm teaching, I do a lot of meditation and restorative yoga, which is a lot more about like nourishing and all of that. And we don't do a lot of movement. And as the teacher, I don't necessarily do a lot of physical stuff, but after it, I can be really quite tired because it's holding that space, because you're really creating that space and you're holding that space. So it has that kind of physical, energetic effect on you as well. So yeah. Totally so right. You need to make sure don't be doing this all day every day.
No. Like, give yourself some time
Give yourself some time out, I think.
So worthwhile mentioning then, if you're wanting to tap more into this, I've messaged him and I'm going to see if we can get him on the show. But an amazing book, Psychic Witch. It's by Matt Oren. So I've contacted him. I'm waiting to hear back from him to see if we can get him on the show.
It's a pretty recent-ish kind of book.
Like it is recent.
Last year?
Yeah, I'd say last year. But it's jam-packed full of like exercises. I think there's like, hang on.
It's a very sort of doing
93 exercises.
Yeah, it's a very
develop your psychic senses.
Yeah, it's not just information, it's actual doing.
So Matt, if you're listening,
if you're listening, seems to work for us.
We would love to have you on the show. To talk about your book, because I know that you've had it now. I think I always see posts on Instagram and Facebook of him, like he's had it translated into so many different languages already, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's so cool. It is a really good book. I do recommend it. So
yes,
I think we're good. Yeah.
And if there's any other questions or if you have any feedback or what clairs are your prevalent clairs?
Yeah, see, I would love to know that, because even you just hearing between the two of us how different, how completely different it is.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, until next time, have an amazing day and we'll talk to you soon.